reunited with her son. I wanted to see the Golden Temple because that was very important to her. She was a devout Sikh. And she went there when she was in danger. She went in hiding. She was hiding in Amritsar. She felt protected by the presence of the Golden Temple. And, and there were many other places like that. And I looked up ancient photographs. I was very lucky because I teach at the University of Houston. The librarians are very nice to me and they'll find books for me and they'll send them to me. So I was able to find a lot of books, and on the internet I found paintings such as this one. And I spent a lot of time, and I will show you some of the things that I found. So of course, here is Maharaja Ranjit Singh. As it says, the greatest Indian ruler of his time, the King of Punjab, just an amazing person. And this talk is not about him, but I want you to look him up because he was truly, there was no one like him at that time. He was a unique person. And one of the unique things that he did is when he met Maharani Jinda, she was a girl who was not from a noble family. In fact, she was the daughter of the palace's dog trainer. But he saw something in her. He saw her intelligence. He saw past her physical beauty into her inner beauty. And he asked to marry her, which was very unusual in that time. Kings did not marry, the daughters of servants. So it goes to show not only his greatness, but also her greatness. How amazing was she that this king was like, you will be my queen. Not only my queen, my last queen. And that's how I got the title of this book. She was the last queen that he ever married. And Maharaja Ranjit Singh, he had to have many alliances. So he married into several important families, but after her, nobody else. So it's a beautiful love story as well in this book. This is where Maharani Jinda lived as the daughter of the dog trainer, then as his queen, and then after he passes away, that also is a very powerful story, how she saves her child, Maharaja Dalip Singh. He's less than a year old, and she knows many, many people would like him out of the picture because he's supposed to be, one of the people who can ascend the throne and become the next king. So she has to hide him, she has to take him away. But ultimately, she will come back to Lahore, and that is where she will live as the Queen Regent. That is where also she will try to figure out, how can I make sure that my son is safe? How can I make sure Punjab is safe? And she will turn to the Khalsa army, Maharaja Ranjit Singh's army. And the way in which she wins them over, that's a tale in itself. It's here. I won't give it away. Let me see what the next thing says here. All right. So this was a part. So this shows you how I went back to ancient photographs. This is the Hazuri Bagh, where Maharani Jinda and Maharaja Ranjit Singh, they loved this place. This was a little bit outside of the palace proper. This is a place where they could be by themselves and just have the sense of being a family. Also, it's a very romantic place where they would go away to be away from the court and just be with each other. And this becomes a very favorite part of the fort for her even later. And because I was able to find photographs like this, I could imagine things in my mind. And I realized something. I realized that sometimes when we have something that we look at as a problem, a trouble, oh, how terrible it is, it can turn into a blessing. Because I couldn't go traveling, I could really focus on how these places were at that time. If I went to Amritsar today, it's very different. If I go to the Golden Temple today, I will not get the feel of how it was for Maharani Jinda, because I was forced to look at old paintings, old photographs. I was able to really, imbibe that place in my imagination. All right, 10 minutes there. Okay, So then I did my research. I must have looked at this image like, I don't know, for a whole week of hours because I had to figure out where was she living? Where was this place in relation to other places? The stables, you see the stables? That's where she lived, near the stables, because that's where the servants lived. And she was a great horsewoman, just like Maharaja Ranjit Singh. And they had a favorite horse. Children, this horse is very famous. I was very taken by this horse. I did lots of horse research as to, what do horses like to eat? How are you supposed to pet a horse? If a horse's ears go up, what does that mean? That means they're very angry with you. You better move away. And so they have a favorite horse. Her name is Laila. She was the most expensive horse in all of Hindustan at that time. And he actually fought a battle to get her. But those are interesting and fun parts of the story. This is an image of Maharani Jinda with her son, Dalip Singh. And she really pretty much dedicates her life to bringing him up. She was such a devoted mother. Now, she sounds like a perfect person. And, perfect people are no fun because we are not perfect. Well, the truth is Maharani Jinda was not perfect. She had lots of faults. She had a bad temper. She was very headstrong. She made a lot of mistakes also, but her heart was very pure. Her heart was very pure. Things go wrong after Maharaja Ranjit Singh passes away. She becomes queen regent. There's a lot of infighting in the court, and all of this is in the book. People go against her. First of all, when she becomes the queen regent, they don't want her to be queen regent. They're like, the people of the court say, Maharani, why don't you relax in the zanana, which is, the women's part of the castle. You can eat nice food, have nice perfumed baths. We'll take care of the kingdom. You don't need to worry your head about it. She's like, no, it's my son's kingdom. I'm going to make sure that I will be in charge to see what you're doing with his kingdom. So she's making a lot of enemies. Luckily, the Khalsa army is for her, so they can't do anything. But the people in the court, they go to the British. They're traitors to their kingdom because the British say, you will be in power. We will remove her. You can do whatever you want in the kingdom. And thus we have the battles. One of them is the Battle of Aliwal. These battles are so heartbreaking. When I was researching this book, a lot of the times I was in tears. Just imagining how things were at that time. And really the story of the entire colonial period of Indian history under British subjugation is so sad because just imagine the British, just a handful of people. How did they manage to conquer an entire country? Because of things like this, because of traitors within each kingdom who allowed that for their own personal benefits. So, it is a story for all of us to remember and to learn from, so that why do we learn from history? We don't want to repeat those same errors, right? Those who forget history, there's a saying, are destined to repeat it. So Maharani Jinda she loses her kingdom, she becomes a prisoner, she's separated from her son, and Chunar Fort is where she is imprisoned by the British. It's a terrible, terrible place. They were actually hoping that she'd just die because it was dark, it was damp, they wouldn't give her proper food, she didn't have proper clothing, but people loved her, her own people loved her. So they would infiltrate as servants and maids, and finally she managed to escape from Chunar Fort. By then, of course, her son has been taken away to England. She wasn't going to see him for many years. So Chunar Fort, that's another place I wanted to see, but I'm sure, I couldn't have seen it the way I saw it in this painting. And what's so amazing, I'll give away a little tidbit from the book. before she leaves Chinar Fort, anyone, if I were in Chinar Fort, well, I would probably have died just in the first week. But before she leaves, okay, I have 5 minutes. Before she leaves, she writes a note to the jailer. It pretty much goes like this: "Ha ha, you thought you had me, but now I'm gone." She leaves that note and then it just gives you a sense of what an amazing character, right? What spirit. She became like my heroine. All right, this is Dalip Singh. See how little he is, and here he is. He's going to be taken away to Queen Victoria's court. He's going to forget all about his heritage. This book is also about how important it is to keep our heritage going, and you folks are doing it so wonderfully over here with not only the Arya Samaj, but the school. It is so important to be proud of who we are, to know how deep and how special our heritage is. He forgets, but then after he's reunited with his mother, she will make him remember again. That's him as an adult. Now, when you look at, and he's in Queen Victoria's court. You look at him, you think, wow, he's looking pretty, Indian. But no, he was asked to dress up like this for this painting. So for him, this is before he was reunited with his mother. Oh, Indianness was just something, you dress up and you act that way. But inside, he was like, I'm really British. But he learned. It was a costly lesson. He went on to have a tragic story of fighting against the British also, but that is Maharaja Dalip Singh. And that brings me to the end. And I think I have like 3 minutes for some easy questions. Praise is also acceptable. Oh, I have to show you these other books. So the book that I wrote after that. So when I finished writing this book, I was satisfied with the book, which ends with something that Maharaja Dalip Singh will say. And that's a secret because I want you to read the book. But I wanted to not end there. I wanted to end with India's independence, when the British are forced to leave India and the country becomes independent. So this is the next chapter. This is set in the 1940s. This is set in the 1800s, mid 1800s. This is in 1940. And as always, I wanted to see it see it through the lives of women, through the eyes of women. So it's about 3 sisters in Bengal who undergo the partition. As you know, there was a big partition up north in the Punjab area, but there was also a big partition in Bengal, where Bengal was divided into 2. And all of the wonderful things and the terrible things that happened at that time, and transformed them and taught them, what does independence mean? Not just for the nation, but also its people. And unless women are allowed independence, can a country be really free? So that's a question this book asks. I was very thankful that this book went on to win a big award called the American Book Award. And thank you. And this book went on to win a big award in India, the Times of India Best Novel Award, Best Fiction Award. But now it's a book for children. This is called Victory Song. And it is also a Girls of Many Lands, American Girl book, but they were doing a series called Girls of Many Lands. So they asked me, would I do one on India? And I said, yes. And they said, well, choose your favorite, historic time. And I chose like the 1930s. And this is when, you may not know this, and especially for the young people in the audience, children were a big part of our independence movement. They acted as messengers, they acted as spies, they could go where no one else could go. So it's about a boy and a girl who get involved in the independence struggle. And I certainly hope that all of you will take a look at this book. This is not easily available, but I do have some here. Okay, questions, 1 minute? Oh my goodness, yes, I have a surprise. Maharani Jinda came alive for me, but I want her to come alive for all of you. And here she is.
I cannot deprive my son Dalip of his birthright, of his throne, for the sake of my own happiness. And I cannot abandon my army on the eve of battle. For better or worse, I am Rani Jinda. The mother of Maharaja Dalip Singh, the mother of the Khalsa, and that is my identity and that is my fate.
Please tell us, when you are not Maharani Jinda, what is your name? Please.
My name is Maharani Jinda. I'm Vaishali Dev, and I'm here from San Antonio, Texas.
Thank you so much for coming all the way to be with us and to be Maharani Jinda today. Wasn't that a nice surprise? Arranged by Ranjana here. Yes. Yes, I can hear you. I can.
Okay. Yeah. So first, this is a praise for you. What I have read most of your work, and I'm a big fan. And I want to say that thank you for bringing the feminine energy out and showing that there is so much of strength in feminine energy, and we don't have to adopt male energy to be strong. So this is what I love about all your books. And secondly, I'm so glad today that I'm attending this with my teenager son, and these boys can actually learn this, that how strong all their mothers are, because because generally, they look up to their dads, but they don't understand that it's their mothers who are taking care of their dads also. We don't speak much because then it is like we are praising ourselves. Okay. But little bit we can do. But your books are like so clear example of, yeah, this is strength. So I want to say thank you for doing this for us. And second, I have a very, I don't know, it's a funny question. When you write, your characters actually have faces, like they're real people, and you give your personality to those characters. Sometimes I feel like very positive, very bright, very good. So when you brainstorm, do these characters talk to you like, Chitra, not like this, maybe this is better, or something like that?
Yes.
Like, what's your blueprint mental framework when you bring them to life?
You are so right. The character has to become alive. In fact, I can't write a book until I hear their voice. So I really have to be in a quiet space, and I have to, I can't even say I imagine them. They kind of come to me. I feel all my books have been gifts from the universe, and all these characters have come to make sure that I write them correctly. So, yes, they do sometimes say, not like that, not like that. And then I have to redo. Yes.
And one more question, if I'm okay, sorry, like,
Yes.
you have.
One last question.
I just
And then
want,
we'll be outside. And I think at the end, there's a little time. Yes.
I just want to echo what she said about all your characters. The main people are the women. And the nice part is that you have a woman in the character that we grew up with. So we know them as people also. And you just brought out their views in all your books, which we never read about in what we were growing up with. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for reading. Yes. And telling people. we do need women-centered stories and voices, because it isn't that a strong woman-centered book is against men. We work together as, we work together. We are partners. And that is what Maharaja Ranjit Singh and Maharani Jinda shows us. It is a partnership. It is a partnership on many levels, mothers and sons, partners, fathers and daughters. Yeah, thank you so much. That has always been one of my desires, because we have these great stories, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, but we don't hear the women's voices, and that's what I wanted to change. So I'm very happy that that worked for you. Thank you, everyone.
So much, just seeing those images that you shared from your research, that really made the book come alive for me, as I'm sure it did for others who've read it. And for those who will read it, it gave us so much great context. And it's incredible that you are now slowly complementing history with her story, right? It's always been the man's perspective. So thank you for bringing that identity into the light. And we could talk so much more about it. But like we said earlier, at the end of the panel, there is going to be time to visit with the authors outside, get books, get them signed by the authors. So please feel free to stay and chat with them some more. I want to move on to our next phase, but before that, I'd like us to do some neck yoga, okay? So bear with me. Turn your neck to the left. Okay, great. To the right. Okay, look down for a second. And now look up. See that beautiful ceiling? All right, you can come back to neutral now. So this ceiling was designed by none other than our third author, Deepak Bedi, in collaboration with the Acharyas at Arya Samaj and some very talented graphic designers. As you can tell, and there's, of course, a lot of his works of arts that are displayed on easels in this hall also. So please take a moment to look at them as you walk out. But as you can tell, he's somebody who combines image and word to create art. Well, as you can tell, he's not just a poet, also an artist, and he explores complex human emotions by balancing his creativity in all of these aspects. You may have noticed, if you've read his book, Brilliant Thoughts, that each poem is accompanied by art. And interestingly enough, the art and writing were not planned together. From what I understand, they might have been done at different points of time in life, even several years apart, but somehow magically they seem to fit each other. Through his verse, Deepak invites us to slow down, savor the moment, and grapple with the questions of meaning and identity. Those are themes that we've realized run through all of the conversations that we've had today. So Deepak's poems explore life's small wonders and larger truths with wit, tenderness, and insight. Please join me in welcoming Deepak Bedi.
How's this work? Hear me? Good. Okay. Just because I'm married to the main organizer of the event, I was hoping to get 10 minutes extra, but I was told that no, that wasn't, I would actually get 5 minutes less. And not only that, but my presentation isn't even up there to begin. Okay, now it is. So I thought they were trying to tell me to wrap it up right away. I'm trying not to feel a little bit like this guy. I have so much to talk about, but I just don't know who's going to do it, particularly after the historically and culturally important presentations that we've just seen. The reason I asked for the extra time was I love to talk about art, and I've been doing this for many years. But I'm not going to get that time. So you will just have to look at it at the back of the hall. This is one that I did about 15 years ago when I was trying to understand the meaning of balance and how to stand up straight and not fall down. And every piece in here is connected to each other, and there's perspective and there's distance in the picture. In any abstracts that I do, these are not just flat triangles or circles. They have depth and they are connected to one another. The balance in a human body, for example, is carried out by 5 different things that I won't get into now. And this shows how you connect to stand up straight. And then I would get occasionally playful. This is for a, let's say, a children's room, and all of these objects are connected, but there's depth and distance in them. And as always, I love colors. I wasted 15 years of my life perfectly, could have been doing other things, but I play with colors all the time. Then again, to get perspective, something that is flat on a piece of paper should give you a sense of perspective and depth. These are like wood grain. This is part of one of my poems here, which is entitled Faulty Groove. There are grooves on this, and I won't have time to get into that, but this is one of them. And I took it a step further and show that whenever I look at circles, and some of these pictures, paintings are at the back, there is depth and perspective to them. There's nothing that I don't get any joy from looking at flat things. So these are circles. You could think that that is an eye on the right side, or that this is the world with triangles flying around it. But it has to have some perspective on it. So with that, I could go on with talking about art all day, but I'm here to talk about this book where I put the art and the poetry together. This is the first one, titled Brilliant Thoughts. Can I even call it poetry? This is not poetry in the sense of beautiful poetry that we are used to reading for many years from Rumi or Tagore or some other Western poet. These are just thoughts. This is somebody talking to themselves, things that come to that. I wrote this for somebody who might read 1 or 2 pages a day, somebody like me with a short attention span, and then you move on. And think about that and look at a picture in between the different pages. So they are just thoughts. They're not poetry. They are kind of a spoken word. Shakespeare called them soliloquies, but as Bernard Shaw once said, Shakespeare was a great teller of stories as long as somebody else had told them before him, which is absolutely true. A lot of his stories had been written before, but he had a different way of telling them. Moving on to Brilliant Thoughts, I won't go through each one of these, but this picture, which I presented to my sister, it hangs in her household. This is Brilliant Thoughts. Here in this house of words, in the hours of dusk and sometimes dawn, in the soaking half-light of consciousness, when you look at the picture, the house is not a house, it's a mind, it's a brain. And there are dark and light spots, the recesses of the brain, and you get these bright lights that come out of that. The brilliant thoughts here are not intellectually brilliant. They are just points of light. You know, you say a bulb went off, a light went off in my head. Those are the brilliant lights. Then I take it a step further because I think about them and often don't write them. And I say, like the pages from a book we have promised to write, but for the words that last only in the mind with the thrilling promise of discovery in the bright fog of confusion. How can we write these words when they are so perfect in the air? In our struggle not to write them, they will just seem ordinary in ink and on the screen, naked of their discovery, of which only we know, words that stay in the waiting room of the mind. So there's a paradox. You can write books or you can just think about them. So I managed to write a little something, but this is the title poem, Brilliant Thoughts. And it goes on, and I'll move on to, I won't go through the entire poem. I will read this one to you because this is, I wrote this the same day that we were having some friends for dinner. I wrote this during the day over about 2 hours, and at the end of the dinner, I did something I've never done before. I actually said, I'd like to read this to you. We were just 8 or 10 of us around the table, and I read this to them. It's not a commentary. It's not a judgment. It's an observation about us, who we are. The sunrises we sleep through in our fragrant laundered cotton sheet, the morning serenity we break, frantic to reach our jobs, the sunsets we waste at work, making a show of industry, the evenings we sit watching politics on TV, cursing and not speaking with our vote, the evening's bird song we don't hear for the noise in our heads, the stars we don't see for the flickering on the screen, the music we don't hear for the TV won't allow it in the house, the art we never see for our eyes are open only for LED, the love we don't feel, we are deaf to the whisper from another heart, the blindness that is ours, not that of the lover, the pain we do not feel, it belongs to someone else, the hurts that don't heal, for they are deep, the lies we tell ourselves, for we are very good at it, the untruths that don't exist, for we are easily led and misled, the impostor that drives in our mind, thrives in our mind, for we believe it is the truth, our charity that is lost, for it goes to that which deserves the least, the insult we do not see, for it is disguised as praise. The compromises and sacrifices we don't make when we are most content, the doubts that don't find us, for we are always right. The blunders we never undo, we are certain we never made them. The desperation that finds us always inconvenient and too late. The failures that break us and make us are the lives we build on quicksand and rebuild on shifting sands. That is who we are. So I don't think my friends wanted to hear that around the dinner table, but that was the thought of the day. And this was quickly, I did this one very quickly. I saw this man on a street in Mexico City. I took his picture, and this is one that I actually did write tailored to this picture. It's a very short one. Let not the misery of today guide tomorrow, it is said, to inspire a man to lift his head above water. Then there are those who drown. This unwilling embrace of your invisible pain you would gladly divorce. It has not made you more immune to the endless daily cuts. Today it seems silence is not strong, weeping is not weak. In the season of malice, sitting on this bench for the passing world to see, today is the day to cry. I'm broken and fixed in 100 places and then held together by threads. Let me cry today. Moving on from that kind of serious, this is a recognition of my ancestors, my mother's family that came from somewhere near Ludhiana in Punjab. And I won't go through the entire words, but this is a picture taken somewhere in 1920, and they all went to Kenya. And I say in the end that this Kenya was the home of our ancestors. A lot of our ancestors left India in the late 1800s and came to Kenya to do business, to build the railways. And these are some of our ancestors. And then I recognize my mother and father there, who I think were the real poets who wrote every day of their lives. And to us, and this picture from the 1950s, they looked like movie stars then. And I talk about them in this long poem. I won't go through the entire one. But in the end, I say, in the many things I do every day, is that you have been gone a while. Smiling through my window, is that you? So that's another one about my parents. I won't talk about the whole thing. This is the family cat. This is my daughter's cat. And I talk to her almost every day, mostly in Punjabi. And I'm trying to teach the cat Punjabi, and she's trying to teach me her language. And so this is what the poem's about. And we have our routine. She knows what to do with me, and I know what to do for her. And so she's 15 years old, but to me, she's like a newborn. And in the end, I think, I know that time's almost up. With all of the serious things, I write a poem right at the end, which says, "It will be all right." To end on an optimistic note, you sit in this house of glass waiting for the earth and sky to assure you of their solidarity with your life and your design. It is too late for almost everything. The children are gone, the house is silent. Across the table and under the light, you sit in conference to solve today's plight. The trails are lost from the many wrong turns. The words are scarce and without light. The slight scrape of chair against the floor brings the raised finger to the lips, lest the kids should stir and cry, but you forget. They are not here anymore, and gone is the cat that loved you more than is possible for any child. So it goes on and on. But in the end, it says, it is possible that there will be a time when the malignant matters of today will filter through the fine pores of time and someday settle as a happy colored sand, and it will be all right. So that is the concluding poem of this thing. And with that, I'll stop talking. In the end,
Any questions from the audience? Please raise your hand and we'll make sure a microphone gets to you. There's a little audience member back there. Arav, is that right?
How did you get the inspiration to write poetry?
that's a very good question, Arav. I don't think about it much during my daily workday as I move and work around, when I go for a walk, when I'm in the shower, things come. If I ever sat down to write, I would never get anything done. So when these thoughts come, they are like the brilliant thoughts that I talked about. Sometimes I get them down on paper. Quite often I don't. That's how I started doing it, and I did that many years ago.
Awesome. I think we have another question right here in the front row. We can repeat your question.
Yes. Thank you to all our esteemed guests here. My question is actually on behalf of a lot of youngsters who are in this crowd here, and they're volunteering here quite a bit. So if you can help the youngsters understand the importance of routine in writing, because we have seen a lot of youngsters would like to be budding writers going forward.
Your question is to tell the youngsters the importance of routine.
Routine, and what does the routine look like for maybe it's a question to all of you.
Yeah.
What is that routine that makes you write every day?
I think the two writers here know what the routine is. They sit and write every day. It's a way of life. You sit down, you give up other things to do that, and you don't wait for inspiration. And it's a way of life. It's work. That is routine. I don't think I'm the best qualified person to talk about routine. I have a daily routine. I have another profession in my life. I still work. That is my routine. But if I'm lucky if I get things down and written up.
Do any of you want to talk about your writing
Yeah.
practice?
Will we just use your,
Yes.
you can just take the mic out. You could.
I wish I knew who said that, but if somebody said if you wait for inspiration to arrive, you will never write a book. And I think that's true. I do I am inspired by an idea, but to write a book that is between 30 and 50,000 words, I probably write 3 times the amount. And then I delete about a third of them. Because again, Hemingway once said that to write is to bleed on paper. And when you take writing to be a vocation, it is your writing has to recreate a reality. It requires a lot of discipline. Because there's no boss standing over you saying, how many words did you write? You have to be your own boss in a way. Yes, publishers come in, editors come in, you have deadlines. But to get to that, you have to be inspired to tell a story because you believe in the power of story.
I think Varsha talks about, how the writing life is for us who have chosen it. I write and I teach at the University of Houston. I teach creative writers, which is a great pleasure. But what I would say to all of you, and this is what I kind of said in my workshop at Jaipur Literature Festival in Houston, and it was a great workshop. Everybody ended up writing a lot, and the people only had like 20 minutes to write. And they came up and they read these wonderful things. So all you really need to get started and get excited about writing, which is really the first step. You need to want to write. You need to want to create something, is just give yourself half an hour a day, or maybe half an hour 3 times a week. And just see, but be quiet and see what will come up. And maybe read a little something, because I always get inspired by what I read. So maybe read a little bit of a story and say, well, how would I continue this story? Or read a poem and say, if I had to write a poem on that, what would it be like? I began to love writing because it was a kind of play for me. It was a chance to be creative, to do something fun, and to express myself. So I would say start in that spirit, and then you will discover what's inside of you. The ideas come. I honestly feel, and I feel so thankful every day of my life, that the ideas are given to me, and I am just grateful to be the person who writes them down. But for that to come to us, for that great, I call it a great spiritual gift, a great divine gift to come to us, we have to be quiet. I'm sure everyone in this room knows about the importance of meditation. And one of the things that meditation does is it allows us to be quiet so that all these busy thoughts that are always jumping up and down, they get a chance to settle down. And then what is there is able to express itself. Because that, I don't know, that beautiful, divine, creative core is there in all of us. It'll come out in different ways. For us, it came out in writing. For you, it also came out in pictures and photographs. And for you, it might come out in some other way. But we all have it. I really know we all have it. We just have to be quiet and patient and allow it to come out. And that's what I would say.
Any other questions in the audience? We have time maybe for one more. Go ahead.
About your roots in Punjab and in Kenya, and I was curious what the idea of home means to you.
Oh, sorry, I didn't get the question.
What does home mean to you?
What does home mean to me? Us, our people, we've been all over the world, start in India, went to Kenya, Africa, grew up there, moved now in North America. I don't have a good answer for that. What is our home? I keep going back to my home, which was Kenya at the time. But no, this is home now, but I go back there every year. And I talk about an infinitely elastic umbilical cord that keeps taking me back there every year. But not everybody, not all my siblings, not all my friends are like that. I think home is where when you grow up and where your formative years are spent, and then you make the connections, and then where you want to end up again as an adult. And I think that's where home is. Of course, when I'm back home in Nairobi in Kenya, I miss my home here and my family, and that's also my home.
Yeah, I think it's beautifully described as the elastic umbilical cord, right? I think we're all global citizens. We all claim to have homes in more places than one.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that great imagery. Thank you so much for coming today, for spending the time, for sharing your creative thoughts and questions with us. And thank you to all of our amazing authors for giving us their time, sharing their creativity with us all through. I mean, it has really helped us be seen, be heard, and feel like somebody else understands, right? There's a connection across ages, across genres, across eras. So we really appreciate the time you spent with us today, and I'll hand it over now to Ranjana for the closing remarks.
The adjective is our Texan Indian authors. This is all local talent. So on behalf of Arya Samaj, we'd like to present a small token of appreciation to each of our participants. Audience, we kindly ask that you hold your applause until the very end so we can honor everyone together. First award, Adit and Stavya, students of the Arya Yuva Mandal, will honor Varsha Bajaj. Please stand up, and one on each side, and then there is a photo op. These are our beacons of hope for the future. Next, artist Preet Monday will honor Chitra Divakurni. Yeah. So this is very special. Preet is very honored to give Chitra a
What are you going to put this on my social media today?
Yeah, and we have, just hold it there, Preet. She did this painting in 2024, I believe, 22, before Chitra wrote her book. So these are two amazing women inspired by the same thing. And as Preet gives this away, she's giving a piece of her heart away, because for an artist, their painting is their child. I know my husband has tons of these paintings at home and he won't give them away. So it's very special. Thank you, Preet. And I am sure that Chitra is going to enjoy that. Next award is for Deepak Bedi. And the presenter is Payal Talwar. Payal has been instrumental in staging this event, setting up outside, and recruiting help. She also happens to be an interior designer and got an award very recently. Next, Dr. Renu Jain will honor our moderator, Preeti Bhagia. And you will all agree with me that Preeti conducted this session very fluently. And our last award, of course, goes to the Queen, Rani Jinnah, aka Vaishali Dev. And presenting to Vaishali will be Ashutosh Garg, and who also happens to be the coordinator of Arya Samaj and has been very, very supportive in staging this unique event. Okay, stay on stage. So I would like all the presenters to come back on stage for a group picture.
Yeah.
And Somashi will help organize you.
Maybe we can stand together.
Yes, I think that would be a good idea to stand together. And this would be a good time to give them a big round of applause again. So we know you had other ways to spend your afternoon, and we are truly honored that you chose to be here with us to celebrate these incredible voices. We encourage you to support today's authors by purchasing their books. We have a limited number available in the lobby, and somebody told me that they have already sold out some of the editions, but there's online. And you do get to talk to the authors. Before you head out, take a few minutes to enjoy the original art by Deepak Bedi on your way out. Feel free to mingle in the lobby, chat with the authors, and then join us in the dining hall for chai, lemonade, samosas, sandwiches, and biscuits. Thank you once again for being part of this very special afternoon. Oh.
You are the architect.